What's up, DJs? Welcome to this 5-part series where we're going to be focused on the all-new DJControl Mix Ultra from Hercules. We're going to be going over scratching, transitions, and all of the new cool features that you'll find on this controller. Now, if you were a fan of the DJControl Mix, the first generation, I am 100% sure you're going to also love this controller as well. Now, this controller is going to work seamlessly with the DJ Pro app. So that's going to be for your Mac, for Windows, iPhone, and for Android. So first, we're going to go ahead and just get started with all of the new cool features and how the controller actually works. I'll show you how you can connect Apple Music or other streaming platforms, how you can get your own music into the DJ app, as well as showing you the different audio configurations that you can use via Bluetooth. So for starters, the DJControl Mix Ultra comes with this really great case. As you can see, this is going to be perfect for traveling. And to pop this off, all you have to do is just hold and then pull this top off just like this. And now this case also can act as a way to hold your phone as well. Now, the first thing to be aware of on this controller is it's going to actually be battery operated. So as you can see here, you have a USB-C. So this comes with a USB-C cord. As you can see right here, you just go ahead and plug this in here, and then you can plug the other end into a power adapter and then charge this controller right up. As you can see right beside that, we also have an on and off switch. So if I go ahead and turn that on, we can now see all of the lights illuminated, and we can see that the controller is on. We also see this Bluetooth light, and it is now blinking. So that's going to signify, okay, we need to go ahead and connect via Bluetooth. So I now have my DJ Pro app completely open. If I go ahead and press my top button here, that's going to bring up the settings. If I go ahead and scroll down and click MIDI devices here, all I have to do is go to Bluetooth MIDI devices. The DJControl Mix Ultra will automatically show up as it's of course near my iPhone. So if I go ahead and press this here, it's going to connect really quickly. As you can see, it's connected, and you also see that volume bar at the top. Now let's go ahead and talk about all of the features on this controller. Starting with just looking to my left and my right, you have these very long tempo sliders here, and they actually lock right in the middle, which is really, really nice. But you have tons of room here, and you can also change that tempo range within the settings as well. So if you want to have a really, really big tempo setting, you can go ahead and change that however you like. The next thing to notice is we have bigger jog wheels on this controller than we did on the last one. So this is going to offer you a little bit more room to go ahead and get your fingers on here. If you are someone that wants to scratch or you want to do back spins, you now have a little bit more room to do that. And we also have on the outside of these jog wheels a little bit more room to slow tracks down by just doing this. We're just on the very, very outside of this jog wheel, or we can go ahead and move it forward like this to make the track go faster as well. Now, if we take a look at the main interface again, we can see in the middle, we have this waveform icon right here. So if we did have songs loaded up, we would see waveforms going down. However, what I want to focus on now is just pressing this icon here, which is going to bring up our section for our EQ in the brand new feature of the Neural Mix. So essentially, as you can see, we have EQ set right here. So if I was to move over here, we would have our high, we would have our mid, and we have our low. As you can see, those are corresponding with the actual software as well. And just to note, these feel really, really smooth as well when you are making those adjustments as you're mixing. Now, the really cool thing that you now have, which is a brand new feature, is this Neural Mix as well. So if I go ahead and click this button right in the middle, we can see that this changes right here to an N instead of EQ. And we can also see vocals, harmonics, and drums as well. So what this is going to allow you to do is actually take out your vocals by using this high knob here. And then with the mid, we can take out our harmonics. Our harmonics are going to be our bass and our melody, as well as the drums right here. So in the next parts of this series, I'll definitely be going a lot more in depth about how to use the Neural Mix and all of the creativity that you can really have when using it. So now if we go ahead and return to the controller, I'm gonna go ahead and turn that back off. We have our browser here in the middle. So if I go ahead and just press this one time, it's actually gonna go ahead and bring up our library. So if I go back here, just to talk a little bit about the library, if we click this over here in the top left, we can see all of our different sources. So if I was to want to connect my Apple Music, all I would have to do is click this here. Now my Apple Music is already connected. However, if you just follow the very simple prompts that the DJ app provides you, it's really easy to go ahead and connect that. And now you have all of your different playlists as well as all of your songs. If you're using an iPhone, to get music directly on the DJ Pro app, it's as easy as just transferring music from your Mac laptop into your Files app on your phone. So once you actually do that, if I go ahead and hit the plus button here and I click add files, so if I go ahead and press this track here, I can click open, and that's gonna actually go ahead and take that from my cloud drive and it's gonna link it directly to the DJ Pro app. So if I go ahead and click link files, I actually have 3 different tracks that I've actually loaded directly from my Files app. Now I'm gonna go ahead and actually load up a track from our DJ music section. So all of this DJ music, as you can see, it says Spotlight. If we scroll down, there's tons and tons of tracks that just come with the DJ app as well. So you can definitely go ahead and play around with those as well. So I'm just gonna load one here. And like I said, if we go ahead and click on this middle again, now we can see this waveform is actually here. So before we go ahead and hop into all the pads, we also have our filter right here. So I'm gonna go back to this icon here. For the filter, we can see if we move that down, we can also see the filter in the actual software as well, going up and down. We of course have our browser knob, as I showed earlier. We can go ahead and browse through our library, and we can actually decide if we want to put a track on deck 2 or deck 1 just by hitting 2 here. That's going to put it on 2, and I already have something on 1. And then of course here we have our master knob here. And then we also have our split queue. If we're using headphones, we can preview songs using this 1 or this 2. Right now, I don't have anything connected, so those aren't going to be enabled. And then right below the filter, we also have, of course, our volume faders right here. You can see them correspond with the software. And then we also have our crossfader, of course, as well. Now, let's go ahead and hop directly into this pad section. This controller truly has so much packed into it. Again, we now have this entire pad section here. We have our hot cue, our loop, our effects, our neural mix. We have pitch play, bounce loop, slicer, and sampler. Now, of course, hot cue is going to allow you to set any cues that you want within the track. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and press this here. And that's going to allow me to see all of the different pad section items basically that we have corresponding here. So this is going to be for neural mix, but if I go ahead and press this here, it's now going to show me all of my cues. So if I go back and look at my waveform, I'm just going to go ahead and take this down. If I was to set a few different cue points, you can see those cue points are showing up here. And then if I want to remove those cue points, I can just hold shift and then remove those just like this. Now our loop section here, I'm gonna go ahead and press our loop. All we have to do is go ahead and go to our next section here. Our loop is gonna allow us to essentially be able to loop certain parts of the track based on which pad you click. So if I go ahead and start with 5 here, just like this. As you can see, that's gonna go ahead and loop this with 4 beats, as we can see right here at the top. Now, if I go ahead and press 4, we can see that changes to now 2. And as you can see, that now has 1 for 3. We have our half beat and we have our 4th beat there. Now for our loops, we can also see that we can save loops just by clicking this here. And we also have our bounce loops right here. Now our bounce loops, we're gonna get to that by holding shift, and then we're gonna click loop one more time. And now as we hold these different pads, as you can see, instead of just pressing the pad once and it loops, you actually have to hold it and then it'll actually loop. So that's going to be our loop and our bounce loop there. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to our effects section here. So if I go ahead and press effects there and I press effects here, you have tons and tons of different effects already loaded into this DJ app. Go ahead and click one of these ellipses here. You can see that you have tons of different options. These are pretty much all of your out options. So you have echo out, reverb out, gate, flanger, alarm. These are all ways to kind of get out of a track. You also have tons of other things, like this would be reverb but not reverb out, bit crusher, punch, twist. I would definitely recommend going through all of these and seeing which ones you like to use the most and then setting them to these particular pads. Now, one thing to keep in mind is you also can press this pad section here. So if I go ahead and play this song, As you can see there, you have the ability to just use your finger when you actually want to change things, and you can also use these pads as well. So on this instant pad, all you have to do is press this one time. Now, one thing to keep in mind on these pads, you actually have to enable this hold if you want to be able to press it one time and then the effect actually stays on. Otherwise, if you don't have hold turned on, when you actually press it, it'll actually go right back off. So that's definitely one thing to keep in mind. You also have your manual section here. Again, you can change all of these effects through here. So this gives you a little bit more flexibility as far as if you want to be able to change your beats on this echo. As you can see here, we can change from 4 to 2, back to 1 to 3/4, down to a half. And then this over here is pretty much going to act as your depth or your intensity of the effect. So if I go ahead and pull that up, we can see that there, and I can pull that down. And then to actually enable or disable these effects, all we have to do is press on. And then if we press it one more time, that'll turn off. Now moving over one more, we have our neural mix section here. So that's actually going to correspond with this here. Now for this neural mix section, we're not going to spend too much time on it right now because I'm going to go over it for an entire video, really in depth, and show you some examples of how you can use it. But essentially, as you can see here, we have our drums, our harmonic, and our vocals. So if I just go ahead and press this one here, this is going to actually solo my drums. If I press 2 and 3, it's going to also solo the harmonic and the vocals. Remember that harmonic is going to be your bass as well as your melody. I can also go ahead and mute those down here as well. So one more thing to mention here, if I go ahead and press this here, I can also change this to drums, bass, and melodic. So now you can see I have my drums, my bass, and my melodic here. So you do have the option to change that if you like. One more thing you can also do is you can make this 4 columns. So now you have your drums, your bass, your harmonic, and your vocals. So definitely use this as you see fit, depending on how you like to mix. Right below hot cue, you have your pitch play. So if you just hold shift and press hot cue, you now have your pitch play here. So I'm actually going to go back to cue first, and I'm just going to put my cue right at the beginning here. Now I'm going to hold shift again, hit hot cue, and now I can change the pitch based on where I just set that hot cue. So you can definitely have fun playing around with that pitch play as well. So we already talked about the bounce loop. Now let's go ahead and move on to the slicer. So if we hold shift and click effects, we now have our slicer. So as you can see with that slicer section, you're going to see each of these pads illuminate, which is going to represent a particular beat in the song. So you can hold that, you can press it. There's tons of different things you can do with that slicer feature to pretty much live remix your song. So I definitely encourage you to play around with that and see all of the creative things that you can do with it. So now let's go ahead and move on to our sampler section by just holding shift, and then we're going to click neural mix. So now if we go ahead and click this icon here, it'll bring up all of the loaded sampler effects that we have within the DJ app. So if I go ahead and press this, it's going to correspond with this pad here. And then if we go ahead and press the rest. So again, those are all of the preloaded samples that you get with the DJ Pro app. So now, of course, we have the same exact thing over on our second deck. However, I do want to talk about the crossfader really quickly. We do have a full video fully dedicated to scratching, but I just want to show you one setting that you can change if you're somebody that's definitely going to be interested in scratching. If we go to sound here from the settings, all we want to do is we want to set our crossfader curve to cut. Setting that to cut is going to allow us to be able to scratch how we want to scratch. But again, we'll be doing a full video dedicated to scratching. So if you are someone that wants to learn and get started, definitely stick around for this entire series. Now, lastly, one of the most important things, of course, is going to be connecting this not only to Bluetooth from your controller to your phone, but also being able to get audio out of your phone to a Bluetooth speaker. So for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to use these wireless headphones here. However, we're going to act like this could also be a Bluetooth speaker as well. So the first thing you're going to want to do is just go to your phone settings, and you want to connect, whether it's a speaker or headphones, you want to connect it via Bluetooth. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now. now. So as you can see, James's AirPods Max, those are the headphones I want to actually connect. Now from here, all I want to do on my phone is I want to actually set the output of my phone to whatever that device is. So on my iPhone, all I'm going to essentially do is click this icon here. I'm going to set from iPhone. Instead of iPhone, I'm going to scroll down to AirPods Max. Now that my headphones are connected, I can now go into settings, click on audio devices, and you'll see that my main output now shows the headphones that I just set my output to. So that's exactly how you want to set up, whether it's a speaker, whether it's headphones. That's how you're going to connect from your controller to your iPhone through the Bluetooth in the settings. And then you want to actually set the output from your phone to your speaker or your headphones. One last thing to mention about the audio configuration is you also are going to receive this cable here. Now this is a 3.5 male end to two 3.5 millimeter female ends. So with this, what you can essentially do here is if you have an adapter for your phone, or if your phone actually has a 3.5, you can go directly into your phone. For me specifically, I have to use an adapter. So if I take this and I go into my phone and I go ahead and just plug this in here, in one, I can just connect my headphones with this cable. And then if you do have a cable like this is actually a 3.5 millimeter male to an XLR. All I have to do is go ahead and plug this into my jack here. And then if I wanted to go direct into a speaker, I can also do that. So that's gonna actually send audio directly from the phone to my headphones, and it's also gonna send that audio to a speaker as well. So I also recommend you go through some of the other settings. Again, as you're playing around with the DJ app and playing around with the controller, definitely change those settings to make sure it fits your particular needs. So again, that's gonna wrap up part one. I truly hope you stay around for the rest of the parts. Again, we're gonna be going over some transitions. We're gonna be doing a full deep dive on the neural mixing. We're gonna do some scratching as well. And I'm gonna show you a mini performance at the end, just so you can see all that this controller is capable of. So I appreciate you for being here. See you in part two.